All right, rhythm. Rhythm is based in repetition, and it's the basic part of the world we find ourselves in. We speak of the rhythm of the seasons, which recur in the same pattern every year. The rhythm of the cycles of the moon, the rhythm of waves upon the shore. Those natural rhythms measure out the passing of time, organize an experience of it. So that's when time is an element. Um, to the extent that our arts take place in time, they too structure experience through rhythm. Music and dance, obviously, are the most obvious examples. The rhythm and the radio, the music that you hear every single day. Poetry, which is recited or read over time, also uses rhythm or for structure and expression. But looking at art takes time as well, and rhythm is one of those means that artists use to structure our experience. Okay, so rhythm is when the same or like elements are repeated over and over again in a composition. When that happens, a certain visual rhythm will result. And we talked about pattern with the repeating of the elements, line, shape, color, the form of pattern. Those patterns will create a rhythm, a visual rhythm. We'll look at some examples. And repetition, of course, is when we see the same thing over and over again at a continuous pace. Um, yeah, so let's take a look at this. This is Layla Ali. This is her greenheads. This is not Layla Ali, the boxer, Layla Ali, Muhammad Ali's daughter, but a different Layla Ali. But see how the elements, the shape, color, line, um, repeat itself from figure to figure to figure to figure to figure. All right, and you have some slight variations as far as when the mouth is open here on this one and that one, and even over here. But it's it it begins to create this monotonous feeling, where some people think if they do the same thing over and over and over and over again, it becomes monotonous. Monotony could be a good thing, especially if you really like doing that thing that you do over and over and over again. Okay, and Layla Ali uses repetition and rhythm to create to prove a point, where the more things either change, the more they stay the same, or we continue in these patterns forever and ever and ever until we change it, which is really seen in this piece with her greenhead characters, as well as obviously there's a pattern here, right? Pattern, pattern, pattern. This repetition of the hanging of these figures. Ultimately, she's saying that okay, we see this repetition, we see this rhythm, we see this pattern, and we have to change it. But think of rhythm, visual rhythm, in a sense of, like, say, architecture. What if you, in music terms, what if you assigned like sounds or music notes to different elements in this piece, like the architecture, the curved note, right? This curved line. What if we go wow, wow, wow? So you go wow, 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 wow. And these circles that are repeated here and here and here and here are like a hi-hat, like a tss. So you go wow, tss, wow, tss, wow, tss, wow. Tss. And you can assign notes to all these little different elements. You can actually create this kind of rhythm, this beat. That's visual rhythm. Of course, not all architecture has a steady pace of rhythm. This particular building here, what kind of visual rhythm do you have here? It's not a steady pace. It's a very kind of choppy this way, that way, and it's very unstructured kind of visual rhythm, right? It's not a tight, succinct pattern, right? Which is good. Which is good. We need that. And this is kind of what jazz is based around. Any jazz musicians or fans of jazz listening, this is Jacob Lawrence, who grew up, who is a big player, artistic player in the Harlem Renaissance back in the 30s and 40s. And he talks about rhythm in a social sense, a rhythm of the city. If you live in a city and you have like horns and car horns, buses, people talking, animals barking. It kind of, if you ever heard the term the rhythm of the city, if you sit and just listen to the rhythm of the city, um, these things that happen over and over and over again become this pulse, right? Or if you live in the country, if you sit out on a porch in the country and realize exactly how loud it really is when the bugs come out, the crickets, the tree frogs, and they start to hit this rhythm, this locusts, the cicada bugs in the south. They hit this rhythm, right? Because they're repeating over and over again. And Jacob Lawrence was really influenced by jazz and Charlie Parker and those guys. But what he's doing, he's repeating these like colors. He's repeating color, the greens, the black. He's repeating the shape, like the thickness of the arms in each person, the triangle shape of the little barbershop aprons, triangle. So he's repeating shape, he's repeating color, he's repeating line, um, to create a sense of rhythm. So if you assign notes to these different colors and play it from left and right in different shapes, you'd get a very experimental jazz kind of sound to it. All right, so that's it on visual rhythms. Kind of, if you equate it to music and assign musical notes to visual elements, you kind of get a sense of what that rhythm would be, right? So rhythm and repetition.